Welcome to the Fill Your Cups podcast. We're your hosts, Morgan
and Bailey.
Hey guys, happy book club bonus episode.
Yeah.
We are covering our January book club episode because December was a little nuts.
It was so crazy.
Yes, and we just kind of let it get away from us, to be honest. So if you read Last Christmas in Paris, we hope that you loved it. That was my pick for book club actually this time.
Yes.
And I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I would recommend it. Mm-hmm. What'd you give it?
I think I gave it 3 stars, but I think I was like rounded up, like 3.5 maybe. I can't remember exactly because I'm stupid and I didn't put it on the Goodreads because I always wait until book club and then I just didn't update it again. But I think it was like 3.5 and I remember I liked it. I remember I liked the romance of it. And the way it was written was very different.
Yeah, it was... Did someone... Not eulogy.
No, not a eulogy. Morgan that had a word for it.
It was like a pistol? A pistol?
A pistol?
I can't remember. Morgan, if you're listening,
let us know what we forgot.
It's the type where it's only letters. So
Yes.
It's letters to and from primarily a love interest, like a woman and a man, but epistolary. Okay,
Wow,
I was really close.
remembered that.
I was really close. Yeah, so mostly letter writing, mostly between them, but there were friends and parents and brothers and all that involved too, and I really liked it. It was, I will say, in book club, it was like the average rating I think was 3 to 5. Like it was pretty.
Oh yeah, it was more a higher rating.
Most
than a
people,
lower rating.
yeah, most people had rated 3 or 4. I think there was like 1.5 maybe or something like that. But regardless,
I think it was like Alexandra or something.
or it might have been Lindsay because she was crying. Remember?
Oh yeah.
I think it was her.
I think it was too.
And I think she said in book club that she rated it immediately after, and it was a solid 5 because she was so
That's
overwhelmed.
so cute.
She was like, it probably realistically is more like a 4, but that's how I felt at the end of the book.
Dude, that is one of my favorite things about book club is that every book we read is so different because different people are choosing it every time. So like obviously you have the extra benefit of reading a book that you might not have picked up before.
Yes.
But I love it so much because everyone reacts so differently to the books.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever Lindsay was saying like, oh my god guys, like I was crying so much in the end. I was like, man, I was waiting to cry. And I was just annoyed. Like and I just think it's so fun to get to hear all the different personality types and how they like receive books.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so I would recommend it. Would you recommend it?
I would recommend it. Yeah, it was different than I thought it was gonna be.
Me too.
Cause it's like literally called Last Christmas in Paris, and I knew it was about World War I. Or 2. It was 1.
1.
Okay, and so I really thought it was gonna be about like their last adventure in Paris, kind of, but it wasn't. It was different, but I still did like it.
Yeah, no, I'm second guessing if it was World War I or World War II. But regardless, it was during the World War.
Yeah.
And the cover makes it look like it's gonna be this romancy winter Paris French excursion type thing, and it's totally not. So, but I do. Part of the reason I recommend it is because the format is so different than other books,
too.
and also just because I do feel like the style lends itself to reading it a little more quickly.
Oh my god,
so
it's such a quick read.
you might as well sneak it in,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I would recommend it. Glad that you would recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good book, and we've done quite a few like war books, so we'll probably get away from those for a while. But it was good. So yeah, so before we go into January book club, what's filling your cup?
Today I got a black cherry Zevia, which I've actually never tried before. And then I got my water, so I'm actually going to crack open my Zevia real quick.
Ooh, don't you love that sound?
And I'm going to try it live taste test.
Ooh. Oh yeah, you haven't had this one before.
Oh! Wait. I like it, but it does taste like NyQuil.
Actually, I could see that.
Yeah, but
I didn't
like
think that when I said that to you. That's hilarious. Because you asked, I always think it's gonna, like, black cherry sounds like it's gonna taste like cherry cola or something like that.
cherry Coke.
And I was like, no, it's definitely a lot more cherrier, but it tastes more like a dark soda than it does like a light soda.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I like it. I think, I think I like my vanilla cola better.
The vanilla
But
cola
that's
is
okay.
the vanilla cola is like the best one.
It's the best one.
Honestly.
I love that one.
Yeah.
What's filling your cup?
I am actually having some airborne. It's so silly. But I woke up with like a slight tickle in my throat. Jared and I were sick over like between Christmas and New Year's. We weren't super sick, but we could definitely both tell we were fighting a cold. We both like sounded nasally, had a little bit of a sore throat. Jared even got a little bit of a cough. I didn't get that. And then just congestion. And I think that sometimes when I see a bunch of people, like I did at book club last night, that you maybe like I wasn't totally over it, and then saw a bunch of people, new germs, and then woke up today. So I'm just
body's like also exhausted.
Yes.
And so it's harder to fight those things off, and
Yeah, so I was having some weird anxiety yesterday. So I feel like that was wearing me out too. So I think that so I just popped some Airborne, which Jared makes fun of me because I drink this like it's a soft drink. And I
Like
love
lemonade.
it. Yeah, he like chugs it like medicine. But I really like the taste of Airborne. So
wow, that's so lucky. I've actually never tried Airborne before, but I'm too scared because one time I had Alka-Seltzer because our dad like swears on it, and it made me throw up immediately.
Yeah.
So now I was hungover, so it was kind of
Alka-Seltzer
nice.
has no taste though. It's so gross.
Oh,
it's just
God.
carbonated.
Disgusting.
Airborne and Emergency. I like Airborne better because Emergency has more like added sugars and food dyes and stuff like that. Airborne is a little bit cleaner. It doesn't have, I think, as much vitamin C, but it still has a lot of vitamin C and zinc, and it doesn't have like added sugar and all that stuff. So I like it a little bit better. But taste-wise, they have multiple different tastes, but taste-wise, I don't know, if it tastes like drinking a lemonade or something like that to me, or like an orange beverage. I don't know.
Hell yeah. Well, let's get on to our January book, which, man, I guess we actually didn't tell people about this book.
Nope.
We didn't do.
Sorry, y'all.
Sorry if you haven't read it. Read it. I think it's Valley of the Dolls by who? Jacqueline Susann.
That sounds right.
Wow, that'd be awesome if that was right. But it's called Valley of the Dolls. It's like a 1960s book. It's set in Hollywood around that time, and your first setting is in New York, and it follows these three main female characters, Neely, Anne, and Jennifer. And I really liked it. I know at book club last night I gave it a 3, but I think I'm probably more inclined to round up. Because I feel like I really did enjoy the book, and I would tell people to read it. I would just give people a heads up that it's really long.
Yeah.
So, like, make sure that you're not on a deadline.
It's 460 pages, which a lot of us in book club read books that are 500 pages pretty regularly, so it's not a crazy amount, but it is more if you're expecting like a 300-page book, obviously.
I like started the book on, our book club's on Wednesday, and I started the book club on the Saturday, I think. So I was like, oh God.
dang.
Like, Mason had just got it for me from the library on Friday, and I saw it, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I really waited too long. So I didn't quite finish it.
I think I started it like the Thursday before or something, and I read most of it by the weekend, but
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect time to have started it.
Yes, yeah. I actually gave it 2 stars.
But
I would highly recommend it. So here's the thing with books like this. I feel like it was really entertaining, I was really invested, very interesting. The characters were wild. I felt like the storylines were crazy. I wanted to know what happened the whole time.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to know what happened the whole time, and that's part of why I would recommend it. I feel like it was really interesting. But then when I found out what happened, I really didn't like what happened. So that's why I gave it a 2. I'm very much an endings rater. Even if I enjoyed reading it the whole time, if it ends in a way that I just absolutely hate, I cannot rate it highly.
It affects the book too much.
Yeah, and everybody's ending was so poor. Like, everybody's ending was just terrible. Honestly, the only person's ending that was kind of decent was the most insufferable character, which was Neely.
Dude, literally, I don't even know how it ended for her. She just keeps sleeping with Lion on her or what? Spoiler.
He did eventually break it off with her, and he canceled representing her with the firm or whatever, the agency, once they had made the amount of money that he wanted to make in order to like pay back the loan to Anne, basically.
Yeah.
And so I don't know exactly how it ended for her, I guess, but it just felt like she got everything she wanted. She got every husband that she was after, basically. She got, I guess she never had wait, no, she did. She had kids. She had twins.
I like to think, though, that on paper she had everything she wanted, but that is why, like, when you're reading her point of view, nothing was ever enough, and she needed more, and she could never be fully loved. She could never, like she was never, ever happy. So I kind of like to think that she actually had the most miserable ending.
Yeah. I don't know. It just felt like her life
went too well.
Yes,
Yeah.
and just that she was happy more of it than she should have been, I guess.
Yeah.
That's terrible to say.
No,
but
if you read the book, then you know. She was awful.
she was terrible.
She was awful.
But anyway, so all that to say, like, even her ending, if it was miserable, I don't know. Everybody's ending was pretty much miserable.
Yeah.
Everybody had a terrible time. I don't know. Nobody, I guess the guys all kind of came out on top.
Dude, yes. So Danielle, one of our book club members yesterday, said that she was also upset about the ending. I think most people were. But she was saying she was upset about the ending because she was like, I felt like the book was so feminist and so, like, woman heavy, and, like, the women were so progressive, but they still ended so terribly with, like one of the characters literally kills herself because her man loves her boobs too much.
Loves
and she
her
has breast
boobs
cancer.
more than her
Yeah.
basically being able to live, because
Literally.
if she didn't get her breast removed, she was probably going to die from the cancer.
Literally. So whenever she said that, I was like, man, I wonder if that's why the book was written that way. Because yes, the women were so progressive, and yes, it was so feminist heavy, but it was supposed to be like a realistic Hollywood style book. So I was like, I wonder if that's why, because it's like, it's still a man's world. Like, you can try so hard, you can do all the things, you can have all the money like they had, you can have all the deals like they had, and you're still so reliant on, like, a man and love and things like that. And I was like, damn, I wonder if that's why it was written that way.
It makes
No
me
happy
so
endings.
mad. And I think that's why people will feel so differently about how they would read it. Because, like I said, I loved the process of reading the book, but I cannot rate a book that I hate the ending so much well. And that was part of why I hated it, because I was like, I wanted them to come out on top, and until just now saying, like, well, I guess actually the only people that come out on top are really the men. And it's because, like, Leon or Lion or whatever, he ends up with a wife and a child that
and his career
and money, and then still gets, like, the little young pieces on the side, you know. And then even, like, Henry Bellamy or whatever, who was a really great, like, he was probably the best character, maybe, like, the one I hated the least, maybe.
He had a very, like, protective father feel about him.
Yeah, and he just
Like,
didn't do
protective
shitty
godfather.
stuff. Like,
Yeah.
he just didn't do shitty stuff. So, and he was he looked out for Anne, you know, invested her money, all that stuff. Like, I think of course, he actually had good friendships with Anne and with Lion and whatever.
Yeah.
I think, and he represented his people really well, the people that he...
And honest.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was talented, you know, whatever. He was a really good guy, but he, like, ended up, I mean, everything ended up pretty well for him. He, I guess, didn't end up marrying anybody.
No, but I think he said that was kind of like his choice.
He was like, oh, I had my love affair with Helen, and now I'm good.
Yeah, and you know that whenever he was younger, he was hitting it with everybody in town. Like, he was not... Like, he was a good guy, but you know that he was doing the same exact things that probably Lion was. He just never got married.
Yeah.
So it was fine. But.
And then, like, Ted, Neely's husband, now she was shitty to him, but he was also shitty to her.
Yeah.
And, excuse me, and he got what he wanted. You know,
That's still how it goes, though. Like, the men, especially, like, in Hollywood, because I feel like in real life, you know a man who cheats and stuff, and, like, you do kind of shun him, as you should. But, like, a man in Hollywood can cheat with whoever he wants, and then they can get married. Like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds cheated on Scarlett Johansson to whenever he met Blake Lively, and like now they're a Hollywood power couple.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's like it
Boo,
still
Ryan
happens
Reynolds.
that way. Still happens exactly
Yeah.
that way. How many like the Hollywood men cheat with their nannies and like
Yeah.
still are completely fine. But
I'm
then
sure.
the women are looked at horribly all the time.
Yeah,
So.
I'm sure. Yeah, I try not to follow that stuff because
I know, I
it
follow
makes
it
me
too much.
it makes me too upset. But I do feel like some people have a better tolerance for endings that are like not perfect and clean cut and like I like.
Yeah.
And more people are okay with an open-ended or not even open-ended, but just a straight up like bad ending because they're like it was raw, it was real, it was vulnerable, and I'm like, no. I feel like if I'm gonna escape to this world in this book, it can be raw and real and vulnerable, but it better freaking end well.
Dude, that's like what I was saying whenever we read The Women, and I was like, she has the power to type the words. Why couldn't she type it nicer?
Yeah, change Hollywood.
Change it.
In the book at least.
Literally. It's funny because now I did not get all the way to the ending. I stopped like 60 pages short because I just couldn't make it in time, but I know I'm going to finish it because I spent so much freaking time reading it, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish it. But hearing the ending, I'm like, yep, I like feel like I like it. And also there's a second book, so I wonder.
There is?
Yes, that's what Sherman was talking about. It's called like Shadow of the Dolls, I think.
Oh.
I don't know if it's gonna follow any of the same characters at all, or what it's gonna look like, but there is a second book, so I'd be really interested to read it, I think.
I feel like we'll see if I read it. I'm too mad. The thing is, it was such a good book.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not rating it by its, like, qualifying it by its literary effectiveness or
plot.
Yeah, no, I truly am just rating how I felt about it, and I felt so mad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I also had no idea it was going to be about what it was about.
Yeah.
Like, did you know dolls was slang for?
No.
I had no idea. I was totally picturing like a book about dolls. I don't know what I was picturing.
I don't really know what I was picturing either. I think I knew that it was. I don't know what I knew. I feel like I had heard that it was about Hollywood, so I figured it was gonna be like that the dolls were the women. Like
Okay,
that
yeah.
they were like
Porcelain dolls.
Yeah, like they
on
were
display.
Yeah. So I don't know why they called the pills the dolls, but whatever.
Yeah, I wonder if that was.
dolls.
I know. I wonder if that was common back then, though. I mean, it
Maybe.
might have been slang, and we just didn't know it. But
Maybe.
yeah,
I can see that.
We all were talking about we should ask our grandmas about
Yes.
because some people did.
Yep. I feel like one of the people's grandmas said it was like, what did she say? One of the grandmas liked it.
One of the grandmas was like, "Is that book about all those trashy women?"
Yeah, and then someone said, yeah, I feel like if you're describing it like that, it's probably that book. She's like, no, I didn't read that. I'm really interested to see what our grandma would say.
I am too.
I don't know if she read it.
She'll probably go. I mean, she doesn't pull any punches, so if she knows what we're talking about and has an opinion, she'll tell us.
Oh, yeah. And I like that.
Yeah.
I like it.
For sure.
That's so funny. I love it. There's another person's grandma who said something about it, and I think she said, like, oh, that book is racy or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is so funny because if you read the books now versus that book, it's, like, not really racy at all. It was pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
Of, mentioning sex and mentioning the women enjoying sex and
Yeah.
like that's very different.
Well, and it did, even though it didn't have sex scenes, like, I don't think that you have to have sex scenes to necessarily be, like, racy or...
Yeah, I agree.
Because there were a lot of really suggestive things, and there were things... I mean, even, like, Neely talking about the different... She's like, oh, yeah, I orgasmed from that way, not the other way,
yes.
Like, they talk... Or when Jen said to Tony, like, I'll let you do anything to me if you marry me, or whatever. And it was clear, like, they talked about, like, anal and stuff. Like,
Okay, I could not tell whenever they finally get married and he goes, okay, now I can do whatever I want. She's like, yes, Tony. He says, okay, then turn around. And she was like, and I was, like, biting back my screams. Because I was like, now, are they doing anal or are they just doing it from behind? And, like, you didn't really do it from behind back then because that's not ladylike. But I was like, if they're doing anal just straight up,
I think so.
Like, how How is she biting back her scream? I'm sorry, but like.
What do you mean? Like she should
like
be screaming?
That should tears you up. All right, we don't even talk about that. But like, when preparation.
I'm with you.
No preparation. No move. Like what?
I'm with you.
How
Yeah.
do you do that?
Yeah. So I think. See, so it is pretty.
It is crazy.
I guess you didn't realize that though, so
Yeah.
maybe that's why without it putting it in words. But I feel like there were a lot of moments where I was surprised that this was written when it was written. Because it was written in the 60s?
Yeah, I think 1960s.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. There's that part with the head, and it's funny because the man's name is the head.
Oh
They
yeah,
call him
yeah.
the head.
I thought
And-
was like some with them giving head. Like okay.
Well, that's where the story's going. It was the
Okay.
part with the head is his name, and that new girl, like Ginny Lord or whatever, like
Oh.
it's after Neely gets fired, and so the producer goes to the head's house, and he's like, "Oh yeah," he opens Ginny's robe, and he's like, "Take a good look, Sam," while he's like caressing her, and then
Gross.
it says. Then she drops to her knees and starts making love to him. I was like, wow, this
Yeah.
man's like 90.
I know. Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
There was
I
a
kind of
lot
to
of.
hear what happened to her.
Yeah, I forgot about her.
She
But
was,
I do remember that scene.
mentions.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just crazy.
It was.
Kind of quite the journey.
It really was. I liked it.
Yeah,
I'd
and
recommend it.
a lot of people really did like it, and I
Mhm.
think, like I said, I would still recommend it, even though I rated it low.
Did we have any 5 stars? Was Shaylin a 5-star?
I think that Madeline said she almost gave it 4.5. I don't know if anybody gave it 5 stars.
I don't remember either.
Maybe Shaylin did.
I cannot remember. She started.
Yeah, no,
I think she gave
I think she
4.
gave it 4.
Yeah.
I think most.
Madeline gave it 4.
I think most people gave it 4 too. There weren't a lot of 3s, which is funny because you're a 3.
Uh-huh.
But there was mostly like 2s and 4s.
Yeah.
And then there were a couple of DNFs.
Was there? Oh, yeah. I guess.
Well-
Technically me.
Yeah, you, Julia, and Courtney
Yes.
didn't read it, but
That's right.
yeah. So I would say definitely power through. Although we did just tell you everything that happened, so if you haven't read it,
Yeah.
then
I feel like when you click on a bonus book club episode, you know we're doing book club.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
All
something
spoilers.
we didn't talk about in book club that I had
wanted to.
been, well, yeah, just that we didn't get to was when Jen super casually was like, "Oh, well, I've had 7 abortions,
Oh yeah.
so I know I'm fertile."
Yeah.
And I was kind of shocked because I kind of thought that those weren't that available, like at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, cause I mean it walks us through her first abortion
Yes,
with
yes.
Tony's baby. So it
Which
walks
that
us
one
through
made
that
sense
one.
because Tony and she were both stars, and like Miriam, his sister, found the doctor, right, or something like that.
No, I think she went and found her own doctor.
She did.
But
Okay.
she got the abortion because Tony had like the special needs,
Right.
or whatever, a learning disability. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
And then the others, we don't know why, but
No.
she probably. I mean, it was probably just an act, like having unprotected sex, I guess.
yeah.
And then like, oh, I already did it once, might as well, and not really thinking about it.
Mhm.
But I just thought that was.
They really did glaze over
It
that.
mentioned very casually, and I was just surprised because of the timing. But maybe it goes to show that as long as you have like money in the name, you can get one. Because I know people
whatever you want.
have complained about that a lot when it comes to abortion. That like, no matter if it's like legal or not, the people that can get them are going to get them, you know? And
Yeah.
usually it just is a matter of like money and means. you know?
Yeah, and status.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just,
No.
that stuck out to me. I was like, wait, did I read
It
that right?
had to be included in there for a purpose.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know.
there's no way, because, I mean, she could have just said, like, oh, I've had an abortion before, so I know I'm fertile.
Yeah.
And we would have known about that. But I feel like it had to have been included for some reason.
Yeah, it was just shocking to me.
Yeah.
I felt really sad for her. I felt like her life was going right. She was going to marry the senator and all that. And then I was like, you fucking prick. He comes in and he's, no, I don't care. What did he?
He's like, I don't even want children. These are my babies.
Oh yeah, he was like, I don't care if you're infertile as long as I have these babies. Talking about her boobs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, know when to shut up.
Dude, yeah. Also, I was like, you're in a hospital because they were looking at her breasts, right?
No, he didn't know. So initially, they were looking at the polyps in her.
Like ovaries and stuff?
Yeah, and they got those out, but then when they were taking her heartbeat, they discovered the tumor. They took a biopsy, we learned. And they found out that they needed to remove her breast, but he didn't know anything about the breast cancer.
That's right. Do you think that if they had removed the breast, she could have gotten a fake one? Or do you think
Probably.
it would have just been like... See, that's what I thought she was gonna
Someone
do.
said that, like, I think Anne said, or Henry, or somebody said that they're amazing plastic surgeons or something like that. So that was because Jen was planning on going forward with it. At first she was really upset, but then she was, because her whole life was her body.
Yeah.
But
and especially her boobs.
yeah.
That's like what she was known for.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so but she did eventually plan to go through with it until he came in and said that.
Oh, yeah. He was the worst. That was a really sad part. It sucked so bad because I really thought that because Tony had, or no. What was the senator's name? Wes or something? Or Wynn.
Yeah.
It was Wynn or something like that. I really thought that he was going to go away, like, on vacation or whatever to do his job for a little while. And I thought that she was going to get it removed and then get fake ones put in. He would just never know.
And then I would have liked that better.
I know. That's what I thought was going to happen. And then she goes home, does her makeup, gets in her best dress, and then dies.
Yeah.
It's like these goddamn dolls.
I know. It's terrible. And
I know how she didn't die.
I was about to say, and did she OD on the dolls?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
they
right.
found a full empty bottle next to her.
Yeah.
It's like, what is that?
Well, Neely didn't die because they said her tolerance was too high.
Yeah.
And because she was so freaking manipulative about it.
I feel like that's a part of, like, that was written that way for a reason too. Like, the worst people are the people who live forever.
For real, dude. Like, the fact that she was literally calculating, oh, how many can I take but I won't die? How much can I slash my wrist but I won't die? But I'll still get a lot of attention. Ugh, gross.
Yeah, she was thinking Jennifer's funeral was so good.
Yeah.
And I can get more than that without actually dying.
Yes.
But-
Ew.
I know. One of the girls at book club was saying, like, oh, I felt like her character had a full-on, like, 180 flip. And I was like, no, I feel like that was always her character. She was always like, how can you help me? I'm not really going to do much, but you need to help me.
Yeah.
And, like, I need to be the best at all times. And I was like, I feel like that's how her character was meant to be.
I didn't feel like she had a 180 flip, but I did feel like when she was younger, she was more humble. Like, she said a bunch of times, like, yeah, but everybody can sing. Like, I'm nothing special. And then when she got older, she's like, I'm Neely, but you know what I mean? Yeah, and she was like, I am special, you know? So I do get that. And then also when she was younger, she had that crazy work ethic. Like, as soon as she got noticed, she was practicing all the time. And then she would... Anne did say that it would be bouts of her being like, I can't do this, and being like, okay, I'm going to hunker down, I'm going to do it.
Yes. I just remembered, sorry, you can finish your thought, and then I'll tell you what I just remembered.
Will you remember it still?
I think so. I'll cross my fingers so I'll remember it.
Okay. But anyway, so all that to say, I do think that she really escalated, and the book was kind of showing how fame and fortune, all that can... change you into that way.
Yeah.
Because I do think that she changed. I felt like she definitely was more humble before.
Yeah.
And even, was it Lion or Henry or somebody? I think it was Lion who was representing her maybe. Someone, she was saying like, yeah, but Helen taught me that you never whatever. And they were like, yeah, but Helen was never late for a show. She was never late to practice, whatever. Helen had good work ethic. And Neely did when she was younger, but then she became so bloated physically and mentally, but like she became so absorbed with herself that she was like, I'm so good, I don't even need to show up to practice.
Yeah, absolutely. I kept trying to think of a celebrity to like compare her to, and I couldn't think of any.
I mean, we probably don't see that side of
course.
things, you know.
Of course, that's true. I don't know.
I'm sure that in Hollywood there are celebrities that are really well known for having terrible work ethics, but being worth it to still sign.
Yeah, that's true. That's what they're saying about Blake Lively right now.
That's so crazy to me.
Just kidding.
Because everybody's mad at Blake Lively, but I feel like it's because of the movie, It Ends With Us, and like interviews where she has said like, oh, it's a great movie and you should go see it, great rom-com. And maybe that's the wrong word for it because obviously there's domestic abuse and that's not comedic at all. But I don't know. I feel like I haven't had huge issues with anything that she said that I've seen.
Yeah, I haven't had issues with things that she said. Honestly, there's like a huge, have you heard she's suing Justin Baldoni? He's like suing her.
No.
Oh my god. Okay, we're going to have to talk about that after this episode. Our Been a Fun episode can be get caught up with this.
Oh my gosh.
So I'll tell you about all that.
Okay.
But one of the last thoughts I had was I forgot how angry I was whenever Neely was supposed to do the TV special. And then started freaking out. I was like, I can't do it. And literally put herself to sleep so that she could not do it. I was like, what a
bitch.
Yeah, what a horrible, horrible bitch. I could not believe it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe Anna was still friends with her after that. I was like...
I know. Yeah, because that was her... he wasn't her fiance at the time. I don't think.
Yeah, whatever. Her boyfriend.
Her man and her representation, really.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, yeah.
Oh, God, I just hated her.
That was so effed up.
Uh-huh. So effed up.
She's the worst. I hate it.
And, of course, she has the best life, like you said. But I like to think that she had the worst life.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tortured life or whatever, but it's just one of those things.
Done by her own doing.
Yes, and that's the thing is, like, I have a really hard time being empathetic toward people who are constantly like, oh, poor me, poor me, poor me. And they do have crazy, terrible things that happen to them. But then I'm like, you kind of did that to yourself.
Yes, like you're just letting it happen to you.
Yeah.
You're sitting there and letting it come.
And not even just letting it happen to you, actively having it happen to you sometimes. Like actively being a participant in it happening to you. Not doing anything to fight it and inviting it in a lot of cases. Just drives me nuts.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Anyway, Valley of the Dolls. I recommend it. I think when I finish it, I'll probably give it 4 stars.
Nice.
But I gave it 3 last night, but I think after this discussion, I'm like, I really liked that book. Probably gonna give it 4.
Yeah, I still am definitely gonna give it 2. I even considered giving it like a 1. I was so mad at the end. But after like a day, because I don't rate book club books immediately either. Usually I rate other books more immediately.
Yeah.
But right when I finished it, I was like, I absolutely hated this book. But again, it's not because I hated reading the book, it's because I hated the way it ended. But yeah, but I would give it a 2 for sure. And especially since, like, I do think it's written in a fun way, and I do think that it's really entertaining, and it's unpredictable.
Very.
And so I feel like books like that keep you on your toes are really good ones to have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I recommend it. What was I gonna say? Oh, next month.
Yes, next month is my book club choice. I'm so excited. It is called
These Silent
Woods. Yes.
I don't know why in my head I keep saying These Silent Killers, which is not what it is.
Definitely not.
But yeah, These Silent Woods.
Yes, These Silent Woods, and it is by, I'm gonna get this up for us real quick. It's by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. It's supposed to be kind of like survival-esque book. Like, they're out in the woods, out in the, like, complete remote alone. And it's about a father and a daughter. And I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
And so...
Has it been on your, like...
I just added it recently.
Okay.
But then I usually, when it is my turn, I'll go through all of my books and kind of see... And I knew that I wanted to have one that was different than what we've been reading.
Yeah.
Because I don't really like the romance books. And even though it's February, I was like, sorry, ladies, it's not going to be Valentine's Day. We can make it a Valentine's Day party, but it's not going to be a Valentine's Day book. Very sorry about that. But yeah, so it was just on my one to read for just a little bit. Nice. But one of the main reasons I chose it is because I was going through the reviews, and literally one of the reviews said, if you're in charge of picking your next book club book, let it be this one. And I was like, okay, I will.
Like, deal.
It's a sign. I'll do it.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that one at some point in February. Sorry again about December, guys.
Yeah.
But go read Last Christmas in Paris. Go read Valley of the Dolls if you haven't, and if you don't care that we spoiled everything.
Perfect.
And tell us what you thought if you did read it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it.
Awesome.
And thank you guys for tuning in.
Cheers!